worse, or not, you can always start it with the new year.
Yeah. I spent way too long like doing all this account verification that they require now to like prove that you're not a robot and you haven't been previously banned and prove that you're not like gonna upload inappropriate things to children.
You have to be.
Oh.
There we are.
All right.
Everybody's on live. All right.
Good.
Ta-da.
You're good.
Yep.
4 years ago, we never could have dreamt of this kind of progress.
No, it's true.
Is that what we're calling?
Just thinking that it came out of my mouth,
I don't know.
but able to participate from a remote location if you have to.
Mhm.
All right, so let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 7:03 PM. Thanks, everybody, for being here and a busy holiday week. So, everybody, excuse me, saw the minutes. We got a little bit of updates, but I think we are set. Any other additions that people wanted to note that weren't already noted via email?
Are we painting lanes in the parking lot or lines? I was
Where's
truly
the
didn't, I was
lot?
confused.
Oh, what did I say?
It says lanes. But I think we need new lines, but we may need lanes too.
What about lane lines?
Flame lines.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
So if it's just the lines, then just a vowel needs to be changed.
Okay, that does make sense. I guess it's probably gonna be more the,
Where is that?
Under the president's report,
Okay.
third point.
so. Anything else? Okay, so do we have approval of both sets of minutes? So one was our 11:15 meeting. We didn't have quite the quorum. So we had some notes from that meeting, but then we had our final meeting to approve bills and things like that on the 16th. So is everybody good with both?
I move that we accept both sets of minutes.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay. Payment of the bills, last and final, payment of the bills. Cap. 221220F. Does everybody have a chance to review that?
Yeah, the only thing that kind of came as a surprise to me was our copier died. Is that?
Yeah, I was gonna update. So I had to call Beth at an emergency.
The big printer.
The big printer, the Konica, Ted can advocate for its aggravation illness. There's a piece on the inside that's plastic and it kept jamming. And when we went to try to fix it, it basically disintegrated.
Okay.
So it's the piece that kind of controls, keeps the paper in line, and then otherwise it just kept jamming and jamming and jamming. And finally, after dealing with it for about 2 weeks, I called Beth and said, I think I'm gonna have to pull the gun and get the new printer. So commercial printers like the Konica that we have are still $5,000 right now. I don't know why they won't come back down in price. I mean, that thing was like $2,600 new when we first got it, and I refused to engage in a $5,000
Service contract.
service contract for another one. So I reached out to Harlan and sent him some ideas and said, is there any that you recommend that you've installed at libraries that aren't commercial printers that work really well? And he found us one that was $1,200 on a discount. And then we just had to buy a new network switch to make it work. And he came and installed it, and it was up by the end of the week. So
So basically, she has $1,000 purchasing authority, and it came in 800 something.
yeah, it was like not with the network switch, it was like $930.
939.49 is what.
Yeah,
it's on here,
so-
Okay.
So she had the authority to purchase it. So I just said, since it's in your budget, you have it in the line item, you still have money available in the technology space. You're authorized to purchase. So,
And we needed it. So.
Yeah.
yep, had to keep moving forward. Okay,
And the Konica got moved to the back. I managed to take some duct tape and kind of, look, I'm gonna milk every inch of ink that's left in that thing, okay? Cause I
That's
just
right.
replaced the ink in it, but I moved it to the office so that it's not getting as much usage.
Not the volume, yeah.
And hopefully we can still milk as much out of it as we can.
And if you can't, you can't.
Right.
yep.
Yeah.
You have the money left in the equipment budget anyway, so
Yeah. That's
you're,
why
you're fine. You're fine with it.
we didn't need to go to the board to approve it since it was in all the guidelines.
Just sad that isn't that the one we just bought out and got rid of that? horrible
Yes, that
company?
I was
Yeah,
really trying.
he jinxed us.
Yeah. After that whole, yeah, I'm sure he did some voodoo magic on me.
Yeah, that's also hard because it's a proprietary system, right? You can only get a service through them. You can't, so we're probably much better off with whatever Rich has suggested we get,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because it can be serviced.
I did
Yeah.
look into replacing the component, but it's actually like this whole unit. It's not just one piece. It's this, like, you have to pop out this whole unit to do it, and the actual unit itself is like more expensive than the printer we bought. So I was just like, yeah, forget this. We're done.
Okay.
We're done.
Any other questions on the final payment of the bills? Okay. So I make a motion that we accept 221220F in the amount of subtotal invoices, subtotal payroll.
$12,989.10.
Thank you. I hadn't scrolled down. 12,989.10.
A second.
All right, Carrie seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Ted.
You're welcome.
Okay, reports. So, had a meeting with the town board after, the town board meeting last Thursday. And, it was really productive. They had some issues they wanted to discuss. And we cleared the air on a lot of things that they didn't understand, and, like there's some things that were going on in the building that they thought was us and it wasn't, and Alexis was able to clarify that. We all agree that the maintenance on the building is rough. They've been working on, the lights and some other things. He got a bid to replace, if you walk up our ramp, our handicap ramp, which I did several times on Sunday while cleaning out the basement. You will see that, it's funny because Brian's like, well, we have to replace the whole porch. And I was like, what? And so then I looked at it, whether it's a horizontal fascia, and whether it's all the posts that have the railing are rotted and rusty. Concrete's breaking up in a lot of places and falling off the walls. So I was surprised when he said that there was gonna be like 100,000, 150,000 to replace the entire outdoor thing and redo the doors with, handicapped access. But after looking at it, I can see why. If you look more closely at it, it's like, yeah, it's kind of in rough shape for a building that's what, 15, 20 years old. So, so we talked about that. There's an accessibility grant that Alexis had in her report, I think, that she alluded to. And so we had a conversation about that. And I said, yeah, let's go for it. It's an investment we want to make, whether it's a mom with a stroller, senior with their arms full and a cane, or somebody in a wheelchair. A door opener is very handy to have. And I think will be appreciated by families and all of our patrons. So then when we talked to Brian, he said, yeah, well, we're going after the accessibility grant as well to pay for the new ramp and stuff like that. So he was going after funding. And I said, well, why don't we both go after the funding and then we can pool our resources? And so he was gung ho for that.
That makes sense.
Yep. So, we also had some conversation about, the noise level coming from upstairs and all the activities on Saturdays. And then just so happens that Saturday they had a little party upstairs, and Alexa said it wasn't anything outrageous, but then the vibration from them moving around upstairs dropped one of the frames for the lights. So I sent a picture to Brian. And he's like, okay, I'll go over and look at it. And I look at it now, and like the one by Ethan looks like
Yeah.
it's kind of loose.
That
Right.
one's,
That was
Yeah.
known as well.
I'm just saying.
it's popped down a few times before, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so we're having conversations about how do we bring the building up to snuff and fund it. So we're working on that. So, I suggest that, there be another facilities meeting in early January and flush out some of the things that we talked about, parking. We have some ideas there. We didn't necessarily discuss them with Brian, but Alexis and I had a long conversation afterwards, whether it's the lines or I believe we are gonna be able, based on what Don Bartle said and everything, we might be able to use the grassy area for parking. So we have some ideas on how we can potentially, solve some of the problems in the building. So it was a very good meeting. We should probably do it more often. So, yeah, so that was time well spent. We spent about an hour with them and, so good meeting. Other than that, I haven't really, I've just worked with Alexis on a few things, the mailing and just miscellaneous things, but nothing monumental. So, I did approach, one of our previous board members and presidents about potentially coming back on the board. She just lost her sister a week and a half ago. So she said she might consider coming to the board in January. So we'll take up that discussion again. And there's one other person that I may approach since we will be one board member short in January. So I figured I could help recruit on my way out the door. So yeah, so that's kind of it. Yeah, I've
Is
told-
January the last meeting you're president,
This is
or
it.
this is it?
This
Okay.
is it. The last hurrah.
Tonight's my last night too.
Yep.
I'm headed to Florida.
Woo! Although my sister in Daytona said it was gonna be 32 degrees like tomorrow morning or something. So I'm not so sure Florida's the hot spot anymore.
Yeah.
I know.
My mom is thrilled.
Yeah. So, so I'll have the president's box, we'll have the elections at the end of the meeting. See who's who, and then, I'll hand over the very sophisticated plastic black box. So, and a lot of it's migrated to electronic, but, so I can send soft copies as well, but I do keep some of the main things like personnel stuff and performance reviews and stuff like that, just so you can pass it on easily. And then I'll also be pinging you guys because we normally do the director's performance evaluation in January. So that will be my last official duty is to do that. So I'll be sending you a short form to get some feedback. I will not be sending the lengthy saga of, it's kind of one that's been handed down and it's like, oh my God. And people just don't really respond to it and don't give me a lot of data. So I tightened it up, shortened it up, made it easy. And so that'll be that coming out probably just after Christmas. And then if I can give you a week to turn around, that'd be great. So that's it for me. Any questions on my stuff? Okay. Ted, November reports.
You have them.
We do. Okay. Any comments on the report?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So, and I think I know what it is. I'm just not sure why we're recording it there. The top line of the expense report is showing the annual BOT fund expense. And in November, it was 1806. Is that from the cemetery tour?
Mhm.
So I'm just not sure why we're carrying that as an expense when it would just have come out of the profit of the cemetery tour. The reason I'm asking about it is because it's showing that we were at 361% of our budget for that line item,
Mhm.
which just, I don't know, doesn't seem like that would be the best way to carry it.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
It does get balanced out. If you look at the income page, the top line, then you come to donations, then you come to annual BOT fund, you have the income,
I do see that.
okay? So if you look at that, there's got to be some way to record the income as well as the expense.
Well, why wouldn't we just carry the income, which would be the gross of the event minus the expenses, and that gives you the net income from that event? Wouldn't that also do it? Or
Yes,
is that,
but it makes things a little bit complicated. Whereas right now, you know how much you took in, you know how much you took out. I mean, you just have to subtract it.
Yeah, yeah, I think just my complication with that is it's on two separate reports. Which means if you don't go, if we don't know to do exactly what you just said, deduct it here and add it back from the other report, then it looks like we overspent by 300%. Which I just don't like showing that on a report when we didn't actually do that. I mean, I understand why you did it. I just don't know that that's the best way.
We've been doing it for years.
Okay,
And the expense is the payment to Nine Partners?
Yes.
Yeah.
And donation.
and then the
Okay.
donation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all the numbers worked out
Right.
fine. That was
Okay.
all great, but
Yeah, if you have a suggestion on how you'd rework it, feel free to work with Ted on it or talk about it more.
You also have it written fully out on the income page down below, the annual BOT fund.
Mhm.
So it means it's figured.
Right.
I think part of the problem when we did this budget is we really oversold this year and it just wasn't calculated in
Mhm.
as well. I think we did a good $1,000 less last year on just the cemetery tour.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was part of it when we did the budget for it. I just don't think we expected to send as much money back over as we did.
But also I said, it's like something that he's carried forward
Mhm.
from other people and it's been talked about before, so you're not the first person. to bring that up.
yeah, I mean, if everybody else is fine with it, then I'm certainly not gonna. It's just, I just question whether it was proper to carry it that way, but if nobody else has a concern with it, then I'm perfectly okay with it.
Yeah.
All the
so,
numbers work out, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think you've done a good job staying on track with the budget, Alexis, in the library. Very happy to see that,
Thank you.
everyone. Yes.
Been a weird year because just we had so many lines get messed up because of the grants and moving.
Yeah. Well, if you back the grant out of it, it all looks good. So
Okay. Any other?
I vote to approve the income and expense report for October, November.
Okay, do you have a second?
A second.
Thank you. All in favor?
I,
All right. So passed. Okay, Alexis.
So my big update was the printer.
Okay, check.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of a fiasco, but thankfully Richard Harlan is amazing. He spent 2 days in this library getting that thing hooked up. And the good part is even though it's not a quote unquote commercial printer, we now have fully wireless scanning capabilities, which we didn't have before. I have one machine instead of two. Because I had to have a separate fax machine because we couldn't get the Konica to work correctly. And it's a smaller machine and it
Much
just,
smaller.
yeah, works a lot better. It's quieter.
Nice.
So that was kind of my big update.
Is it laser or ink?
It's laser.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we do print quite a bit for a small little library. I have to say, I was comparing some when we were trying to figure out what printer to go with. Richard asked me to send over our printing, our annual printing, so I had to go through and kind of calculate that in. And he was like, wow. So we opted for a laser fully color printer that has all the capabilities. And the one I wanted was I sent him one that I liked that I sent Beth just to get her opinion on, and it was like $900. He found an upgraded version to that that's a little bit better for us for the printing capabilities. And it's usually $1,200, and he got a good deal on it for like 8 and some change. And then
Sweet.
we had to do the network switch. So he's not here tonight, but Richard Harlan is a lifesaver. Usage is all good. We're still staying up there. Next month you'll all get my year-end graphs and data. That's always fun to analyze, that I like to do. I get all excited for January because I get to like graph everything out. But anyways, you'll get to see all that. But we had a
Can't tell if there was sarcasm there.
No,
yeah, no. This is
librarians like charts.
we like charts. We do. And I'm really excited because we had a great year in terms of circulation. It's been really hard to stay on top of because the demand is just, I mean, it's up there, but I'm really excited to actually see how we've really done this year compared to last year in 2020. So you'll be getting a 3-year chart graph. Look forward to that. I am. Programming too, we blew programming way out of the water compared to last year, this year. The big update to the programming that I want to let you all know is that the Teen Writing Club has been a virtual thing. We hire Abby Gallagher. She's a writer and poet. She actually teaches college level creative writing classes. And she works with the teens. She's coming back in person in January here at the library. So this is a program that we split with Scoville and Northeast Millerton Library. But she's coming back here. And the teens are really looking forward to it because we have the bigger teen base for that. So I think that it'll be a fun program. And she's all excited about the whiteboard tables. She's like, we get to do stuff on whiteboard tables. So that's going to be fun to bring back into the library. And that's kind of our last program that went virtual during COVID that has stayed virtual and is now coming back. So I guess you can officially say we are in post-pandemic programming officially.
Cool.
Yay.
We made it.
Finally.
survived.
Yes.
So there are 8 participants listed here. Is that normal numbers?
So that's
don't have
across
that
2
in the-
sessions. She has about I would say 4 to 12 participants per session. She takes a break during the summer, and then during this time of year she typically misses a few weeks. So I would say like on average we get probably about 6 teens per session, but it tends to vary. Sometimes we have 2 really solid members that are almost always here for it, but they fluctuate. I'm not 100% sure. I think Scoville elected to stay. I actually reached out to Jean to see if the Friends want to help us with this because we do pay her for this program and she's bumping up her rates for next year. And we're not sure because most of the kids are Pine Plains. I'm not sure if Northeast Millerton's going to want to continue splitting it with us. So I'm waiting on that final feedback from them as to whether they're doing it. But I really want to keep the program because the teens that are involved with it really, really love it. So, and it's hard to get teenagers in here. It's just really difficult.
How does she recruit? How does the library recruit?
We have it
teens for
on
that?
our calendar and on the
Mhm.
newsletter and occasionally posted on Facebook. It's also shared with we have that library program page across the shared libraries.
Okay.
So it's there. I think that actually being in person, she's already had a handful of kids that have expressed that if it came back in person, they would come do it. And I think the kids are just at the
They're
point where
zoomed out,
they're
yep.
sick of
They're
Zoom.
zoomed
They
out.
are absolutely sick of Zoom. So
Yeah.
Okay.
we're actually hoping that'll boost them up a little bit more, but
When does it take place?
every Friday, except during the summers, every Friday from 5:30 to 7. 5:30, yes. So as of right now, I think she's gonna maneuver the hours around when she comes back in person, but she was waiting till the first of the year to get to me on that number, so. Yeah, so you should recruit your kiddos to
I
go.
was thinking that Margaret might like it.
Yeah. It's a really fun group and it's they all get to creatively express themselves through writing and through graphic novels. One of them creates their own graphic novels and stuff, so it's really flexible.
It's all creative writing.
Yeah, creative, nonfiction, like whatever they want to write, they do. And I know sometimes she will incorporate like movies and documentaries or whatever into her programs, but I give her full flexibility with the program, so just whatever she wants to put together. And then they actually have their own website. I'm not sure what the website name is, where they can all anonymously upload their pieces to share with each other.
But that's not a public website.
No,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
it's within each other, but
Mhm.
I know a few of them have gotten like scholarships and stuff like that from their writings. So.
Can I jump in with a few quick questions? Because I was gonna wait, but you're on my topic right now.
Yes,
Just in an effort to get a better understanding of who uses the library, I was going to ask who are the people in the teen writing club and why they show up, and I think you just answered that. But I have the same question for stuff like tech time with Annie and the book club and the maker hour. Like, who are the people that come to tech time with Annie? Are they seniors?
most of them. I'd say most of them. You occasionally get the one or two in that are of the younger groups or the just needing help with something, but most of them are seniors that need help navigating computers. And she helped somebody set up their phone. They had to get a new smartphone. They went from a flip phone to a smartphone. And so she helped them get it all set up.
Talk about culture shock.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I would say most of them are seniors.
And the book club?
Book club, that's a good mix. I would say it's adults. It's the adult book club.
Are those consistent members? Like, is it the
We
same
sometimes
thing?
get the occasional new
Mhm.
joiner. I'm looking at Jean because she's in the book club. But we do have our base.
Forever.
Yeah, we do have our base. Yeah, it's a mix. I'd say most of us or most of them are, slightly older. We're all adults, definitely,
And
late
I have
20s.
questions about logistics. Do you get copies of the books for people to check out?
I
Give
order
them-
mass copies
Okay.
from Mid Hudson,
Okay.
and I try to pick titles that are easily or
Easy.
readily available so
Okay.
that we can, and then I usually pre-order that. If I have a really hard time getting a hold of a book, I'll try to get it at a discounted rate and order it for people, but typically it's through Mid Hudson.
And what about maker hour?
A lot of people during COVID.
Yeah. Maker Club is for children. So the Maker Hour is, we basically say like 4 and up, but it's a children's Maker Hour that we do in the children's department, and the oldest we get is a 12-year-old who comes in with his younger sibling, and he hangs out and does various other like more crafty,
What are they making?
whatever Samantha manages to brew up in her.
Is it crafts?
It's like buildable crafts. So yeah, it's crafts that they can that kind of teaches like STEM based stuff. So like one of them is making snow and talking about like absorbents, like hyper absorbents with water and playing around with stuff like that. One was like we created a lantern and talking about solar power, and we had like a little kit for that. And then I don't know.
Dinosaur bones.
Oh yeah, the paleontology kit too.
Okay.
So it's like
I got it.
interactive play for the kids, basically, that teaches you something.
Thanks.
Is there any other one? No,
And then the Tai Chi and gentle yoga is just,
it's a mix.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a good mix of ages. 30 plus, I would say,
Mm.
on the age group.
But that's in
Um,
person again.
Yes,
It's upstairs.
upstairs. Yep. Yep, in the
The
community.
lights fall down over.
Only time we really had a challenge was when they let the cheer squad.
You guys remember that?
Oh my God, they were here one time and we were just like,
tear the building
oh,
down.
can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, when the pendants fell out
Yes.
over the circulation desk.
Yeah, that was fun, very fun. We were all scared.
Like, was gonna come either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they were
and-
on mats.
And they had mats that they
Yes.
rolled out.
Wow.
It was, yeah, it was intense.
Ethan, you and I should go upstairs and jump up and down.
Yeah. MCI.
We actually did Zumba here for many years.
I
Yeah,
can
Well, the library was
only
open
imagine.
upstairs.
Oh
I
my
don't think
God.
that would work during business hours.
I can't remember if the library was open. but
Couldn't
Yeah,
even,
it
really.
wouldn't work. Even
it
just
was
like
so much fun.
The music,
any gathering up there at all is just like a racket. It's just like a cattle call upstairs. And it's just like, oh, and they're not really doing anything,
Yeah.
It's just,
just this building isn't made for that.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah,
To separate
there's
the two
no
spaces.
insulation
Yeah.
whatsoever between those cork boards and the wood floor, so it just reverberates.
Is that me or you? That's not me. Pacemaker.
So the only other thing that I wanted to bring up was the ALA grant for, this was before we had the meeting with the town board. So it's a library, American Library Association grant. It's focusing on rural communities. And you can use $10,000 to $20,000 to improve accessibility in your building. That includes adding automatic doors to the facility, which is what we were initially looking at. Obviously, with the conversation in the town, where it's going to be a bigger project than just what we were looking at. I'm pursuing that. I'm supposed to talk to Brian one-on-one and see if what we can come up with together. I also did reach out to our architect just to see if he had any insight on that, and he's going to get back to me. So I'll update you all as soon as he has a better idea of any of that.
It just would be good to have input. Yeah, we might be able, if he's gonna tear out the porch and put in a new one, make it, because it does end up being our main entrance. You know, it might be that we can make it a little bit more welcoming and make it look more like an official entrance rather than.
Paul involved in that could be really helpful.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that would be nice. So, and the town was open to that, I think, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, before we pull the trigger or anything, he's gonna kind of write up a proposal to estimate how much it would cost for him to look at that type of thing. But before we pull the trigger, we'll sit down with the town and make sure that that's all appropriate and whatnot, so. But again, that's not official, that's just being put out there. So the building was rekeyed. We've successfully accomplished working with the town it was a little bit of an awkward process. I know that they worked hard to make sure that we had what we needed. We had to skip a delivery. We get a delivery early Tuesday morning. They come in at like 4:15 in the morning, and they had finished doing the keying like that evening, Monday evening, and I could not make it in time to grab a set for the delivery. And I love my job, but I don't know that me at 4 o'clock in the morning is a pretty sight. So we missed one delivery, but we were able to quickly catch up and get the delivery team what they needed.
And the doors now work. So
Yes.
Awesome.
the team can lock the doors and it's not that
Yeah,
hassle. of
the jamming of the door has been solved. They
being-
because of that, it was because when they did the key installation, the locking that wasn't installed correctly, basically, story of the building. So that has now been resolved and it works so much better. It's
Good.
so much more efficient.
Now everything from upstairs has been moved down.
So I was gonna update that it's okay, in the Learn Play Create grant
Okay.
part of it. We're gonna start working on that process. But we, everybody has keys that needs to have keys. And I think that we actually have, it's now more keys. What was one key that would get you into the library? We have to have 3 sets now, but I think that actually works better in the sense that what we kept having is people in the library that would like leave doors open and lights on that we weren't sure who was actually in here. So I think having 3 separate sets of keys, even though it's more work for us to keep track of, I think it's more appropriate because it keeps those spaces divided out. So somebody who gets a key for the upstairs can't just walk into the library and do whatever they need to do. So I think that this was overall really good, and the town worked with us really quickly on being able to get everybody the sets that they needed.
Also, you didn't mention it, but I will. I mean, we came in on Sunday and did a great job of cleaning
Oh,
out
yeah.
the basement. So thank you for taking your Sunday morning and
thank
or the
you.
afternoon. So she schlepped a bunch of stuff out to the dumpster.
The dumpster is stuffed right now.
Yeah, we went to town. So, so it's definitely a lot more organized, and so you did a good job. So
Thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah,
organizing
you
it.
did too. Thank you.
Sure.
Wouldn't have been able to do it without some help.
Went home to get my hammer so we could whack some stuff together. It was
Yeah.
very therapeutic.
Yes, it was. Took some good whacking.
And set up some good shelves.
Every door direct mail, you all saw my updates on this. I don't want to spend too long, but boy, Lord have mercy, was this more of a process than I anticipated. It's going out January 4th, I think. Unfortunately, that's later than I anticipated, but I didn't anticipate the amount of time it would took to finalize the route and the design, and also getting the printing done this time of year, which they're very backed up on. So that was my mistake, but it's going out and we'll see how it does. And the library assistant job is officially up. It's up on the website. I have a few postings that are going out after the Christmas holiday. I just feel like it would be kind of weird to post it, really like blare it right now
Yeah.
with Christmas this week. So, but it's up on the website. It's up on the New York Library Association job line, and it's going up on a few more places as soon as the holidays are over. And I actually already have a few applicants that have submitted applications. So
Great.
I think that's it, and I'm done talking your ears off.
Okay.
For now.
Thank you, Alexis.
We'll
Do you-
stand by. I have a
do you-
question.
Oh, it's on
Any
INA.
questions?
You can go ahead, Claire.
Oh, there's INALI. I need a library job.
Oh, yeah,
Name we have.
yeah,
Oh, she's changing the name. INALJ.
INALJ, I'll look into that.
They may pick it up off the New York State.
Yeah, they
list.
might. I know that the New York Library Association job line tends to, they tend to pull that out multiple places. So that's why I go for them. They charge us like a $45 fee to do it, but it's worth it
Definitely.
to get it out there.
So you've explained this before,
Yes,
and I apologize for asking you to explain it again,
it's okay.
but I'm a little dense. What's the difference between residents or people in Pine Plains using the library as their home library versus the P-type?
Okay, so your P type is set by the state, so it's not as straightforward as the zip code. It's set by our library charter. So there's like Elizaville is considered our patron because for some reason with the way that they do it, I don't know why, but they're considered a Pine Plains P type. So it's set by our charter. It's our chartered population that's set by the state. And so they look at, it's not just the straightforward zip code map, but it's like
They could see, here you are, you're servicing these 6 towns and this hamlet and there, and
right. So Elizaville is kind of like one of those weird ones because we don't have a special
Very odd.
district necessarily, but for some reason the state ropes that into our population. So therefore it's roped into our chartered population. So they're assigned to us. But for the sake of, if you're considered a resident of Pine Plains because we're a municipal library, if you're considered a resident of Pine Plains, then you're considered a P type to Pine Plains. The difference to that is if you have somebody right over the Stanford line and they're considered a Stanford P type, but they come here, that's their home library. So we get all of the reason I denote those two is because the P type is what we report to the state. So that's the number that the state gets as to how many patrons we have. Whereas the home library is how many patrons use our library, which is slightly different by the state. So it's how many users we have that are taking things out, actively being in the library and actively using the library. So somebody who's in Stanfordville, their Stanfordville is going to get, even though they use our library, they may never step foot in Stanfordville, but Stanfordville is going to get the credit for them as their patron, but we get all their usage. So that's kind of why I denote them, because you can see how many patrons are actually using our library versus just how many are considered how many are registered in our area.
copy that.
And are all those people, Elizaville, for the example, will those people be getting the mailer?
I don't think so, because we just did the 12567 zip code for this time.
Okay.
I think that next year we can look into expanding it to the school district, but if we added more zip codes, it would have jacked up the cost even more. So I was just trying to keep us in the budget.
Okay. And then I would think in the fall, and when we get back, not fall, after Christmas, we could take a look at some of the businesses. I have a list and we could go, send individual notes to them, because like, their businesses might not get mail here, like Pinocchio is in Ankrum, right? So,
Right.
or other, examples.
Yeah.
The farmer's wife or whatever, and send them all notes as well, so.
I do want to mention that, on that remark, and you're completely correct on that, I think that we will have extras left over, and I'm gonna make some copies of them, put them at town hall and put them around town in addition to just the ones. But, it was a slight increase in charge, but not enough for me to not do it, that I did include Pine Plains businesses who are registered businesses in the mailer. Because I didn't realize when I first started doing it that you have to designate whether you just want it going to residents or just businesses or residents and businesses, and I added the businesses to
great,
that to
okay.
make sure
So
that.
there's probably just a handful, but I think there are some that we can go after.
Yes, yeah, I
Okay.
think that us doing some personalized letters would behoove us, but we just need to sit down and get those letters done and send and figure out those addresses. And we need to make a good mailing list. That's something we absolutely.
Especially the houses that don't fit into the 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 that are still
Yes.
Hicks Hill, Trip Road, Bean River, Skunks Misery, et cetera, et cetera.
I think
Yeah,
town hall recommended
waiting
that we
by my
use the
mailbox.
tax roll. Isn't that what
I
it
think
said?
something like that the other night when we were talking about it.
Mhm.
Can
Yeah.
they,
yeah.
can they dump that list?
The tax roll,
Yeah.
you can
That's
pull that
public.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know, but it's got a whole lot of information. I mean.
Yeah,
we'd
but
have
you can
to-
just go through, I mean, I don't know that they can dump the list, but you could just go through, I was looking at it not that long ago for a
It would
different.
come
project.
as an Excel.
I would imagine that
Like
the
a
town has
CSV
their
or like a
mailing, we could
parcel
probably
access.
see what they use.
Yeah,
So, because they have to do mailings for the tax base.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure there's a way.
okay.
I've only ever seen the PDF version of it. And it's
Intense.
It is,
fascinating. I can get lost in it.
Well, that's one. I know.
I have gotten
It's like
lost
charge
in
thing
it.
again, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fun document to go through. I mean, seriously, especially to start comparing it to other because you can see like different tax districts and how they were. Anyway, you can play with a lot of fun numbers and
I also go for like little riffs on the parcel access.
That's Patrick and my secret vice.
I
Parcel
spend
access.
hours
I
on it.
open it and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like 2 hours that I'm
Mhm.
gonna be lost myself.
Yeah. So it's nice to know there's more people than
yeah.
just me that does
It's-
that.
it is.
Yeah.
Actually,
Move
that's a good resource for some of those houses out
Yeah.
there, because a lot of if anybody's a weekender and their primary mailing address is on
Somewhere else.
Second Avenue, you
Yeah,
can
or-
just send it directly over there.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's true.
Oh, that's one last update that that's one last update. I know a few of you were here for the meeting on Saturday, but I wanted to run this by everybody. When we get this next position and they're settled, I'm playing with the idea of opening on Sundays. The only library open on Sundays in our area is Adrian's, which is not in our area. So, because of the agreement that we kind of have with Bob coming in and cleaning the building and that limits our ability to open early on Mondays and stuff like that. I was playing with the idea of kind of being that unique library out, in our area that's open on Sundays, and given our weekender status, I thought that that might be a good thing to pursue. The downside to that is because since nobody in our area is open on Sundays, well, there's two downsides. The first downside is my staff is going to hate me. The second downside is that I don't have a judge of how successful or unsuccessful it's going to be. I'm going to have to just, if we go for it, we have to go for it and see how it
And
goes.
loud.
Yeah, and it's probably going to take a while to really see what the effect is because people are so used to libraries being closed on
I think
Sundays.
you have a couple of kids programs on a Sunday morning when the parents have, nothing else to do with them. I think that's a good way to
Get a
get
food
people
truck.
here.
There's nowhere to eat, it's Sunday
Yeah.
at lunchtime.
Waffle guy up on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love waffles.
And then everybody will come and eat with us. on
Yeah.
Super Sunday.
Not a bad idea.
I think you worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny because the new director over at the Stissing Center, they were doing a program on Sunday afternoon. And so Brett was like, oh, he was trying to take the 2 or 3 people that had been working Saturday night and then getting set up with this thing. Well, let me buy you lunch. And they all cracked up laughing. And he says, what's so funny? Like, there's no place open. And so, yeah, it was just sort of like, okay.
Isn't Rosie's open on Sunday?
Until 2, but they've been closed.
But yeah, no,
COVID.
no, no.
You have to say they were closed
They're
on
closed
Saturday.
for a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they took a break.
Yeah.
Which is really outrageous.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking food truck, I'm, you know, just throwing it out there.
That would be fun. That actually, it would be a lot
Could
of
get a
fun.
Yeah.
big coffee maker and start serving coffee.
It was-
What I-
Historically, Pine Place has been pretty dead on Sundays.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't know.
Well, the Stitching House is open on Sundays, I think, isn't it?
I don't think
They sometimes do events on.
I don't know
Sundays,
that
I
I
they're
thought
open
they
at
were
lunch.
open for
They're
lunch,
not
for
open
lunch.
brunch, I don't think.
I don't know, maybe they changed it. I thought they were open as
I think they talked about it. I don't
Yeah, because I
know.
know they, you know, the old Sissing House, they tried to be open and then they found it didn't work for them, so,
Right.
yeah.
I
We
think-
always went on Sunday.
Yeah.
To the old Stissing House.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday night.
And you came once,
But recently they, it seemed like,
pre-COVID,
yeah, I
I'm
guess,
talking.
yeah. Okay.
They had a brunch. Yeah, they
Okay.
did, with music, I think.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to gauge the interest of staff working Sundays and volunteers on Sundays. I think that's gonna be a hard sell.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be.
And we know that it would be, you know,
But
the hours she's talking about are like, you know, 10 or 11, once people have gone to church and relaxed and read the paper and all that, till like 2 or 3 or something like that, so.
it's a great
Not a
idea.
big day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely transparent. I have no idea if it would be successful or not. It's just an idea I'm toying with because there's not a local library that's open on Sundays. So we might pull from patrons from other areas that need to print something on Sunday and don't have a printer. You
Mhm.
never know.
You can also do things like, Paul volunteered to hang the TVs, so now the big TVs up in the kids' rooms, we could have movies, because we have the license to do, we could do a Sunday movie. Yeah, there's lots of ideas that you could throw in there to draw people in,
Mhm.
so, I think it's worth trying.
Homework help,
Huh?
homework help.
Well, I mean, homework help we could do. I was actually thinking that would be cool to start with like a mid-brunch fundraiser, like.
Or a teen study group, finish your homework for Monday, you know,
Oh,
lots of
yeah.
different things you
I
could,
bet our teen intern would have some fun on a Sunday for like last minute cram your homework fun. But yeah, you know, I want to get somebody in here and get them situated and feel really comfortable with the staff at the hours that we have right now, because we're really stretched thin. It's hard. I find myself away more and more for meetings and you know, unavailable, whether it's just like I'm in the office in a meeting or working on a project, or I'm away meeting with other community members or whatever it is I'm doing, running around the Stissing House like a crazy person trying to do a bake auction. But you know, I really need that extra person, and I think once they're comfortable and we feel like we're ready for it, you know, it could be a good idea to just.
you're
see how
leaving
it goes.
tomorrow for vacation, right?
Yes.
Okay, so make sure Mary knows I'm here till Friday.
Okay.
So, and then back on Monday or Tuesday, so
Yeah.
if she needs help with anything, we'll do.
Yeah, thankfully, everybody kind of like took some vacation on me like 2 weeks ago.
Hmm,
So I'm like, time to make it up, guys.
okay,
So, but yeah, and actually I have quite a few volunteers that are going out of town next week. So they are like, do you need any extra help this week? And I'm like, yes, I do. So that
Good.
worked out really well.
Do you have numbers or anything on your silent night
Yes.
bake auction, Christmas?
Forgot
thing?
to bring that, like,
Um,
I have not finished yabbing your ears off. Give me just a second. $630, I think was the last.
Really?
That
Yes,
was after
that we
expenses.
raised. Yep.
Really?
That's after, so it
She-
makes up.
yeah,
for the-
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
skeptical. That's really,
But she was right, because people would be like, okay, I bought a pie for $25, here's a check for 50, here's a
Yes.
check for 100.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so people didn't
Wow.
pay,
Yeah, I had several people that won something for $30 and handed me $100 check. Like that happened probably half of the items that happened with. So people got the gist of it. And having the soups,
that
I
was
mean,
huge.
we sold
They
out.
were gone in a second. By the time we
Yeah.
got there, they were gone.
It was crazy. And even Paul was like completely flabbergasted, but he was exhausted. he was flabbergasted and he was like, we should really like, what we should have done, we probably could have doubled that if we just put a donation jar in front of
Yeah.
the soup station. But I was completely shocked at how quickly we went through those soups.
And the big great part of it, and thank you for being there through the whole thing to help,
Yeah.
because it was a lot busier than we thought, was that I was the greeter,
Right.
and the number of people that came in and said, I've never been in here before, or I haven't been here since it was a movie theater, and it was really incredible. And so they had this big warm welcome of, here's some, hot soup. They're like, it's free. And it's like, yeah, it's free. There's free
And there was the
cookies, there's hot
cookies and-
cocoa. So I think it was really nice for people who would never probably come into this Disney Center to come in and see,
Mhm.
and just see them looking around in awe at how nice it looked and having fun. So it was a real big success, I think.
Yeah.
So great
And I
job.
really appreciate Marie and Patrick, the other Patrick and Patrick and Coven, for reaching out to do it at the Sistine Center, because that was a huge
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
benefit. And I brought 2 packets of brochures, the ones that we had out at, and I went through a whole packet of them. So people took them and they were all interested. I had so many questions like, what is the bake auction? Like, what is a silent bake auction? I had so many people, and then they would just like jot down numbers, and it seemed like everybody had fun. Every item was picked up, which I was really sad about. I was kind of hoping to escape with something, but
I wanted to circle back and try one of the cupcakes.
oh my gosh, those are
Yeah.
so she gave us some extras and they
Yeah.
were so good. But I think Kendra might have saw me tear up there when I checked and saw that all of them had bids on them, and I was like, okay, I didn't fail. So
Not at all.
yeah, so yeah, but I think the soup won out more than anything. We could probably charge like $2 for a cup of soup or something
Mhm.
and make way more money.
Yeah, and even, I liked the free aspect of it. So I didn't necessarily think that it was such a bad thing, $176, but I think if you put a jar out and say, if you'd like to make a donation, that's fine, but it's free.
Yeah,
I think I'd rather go that route because, there were a lot of kids that ate the chili, and I think a lot of people that came in probably wouldn't,
Mhm.
they were families of 4 and 5. So they might not spend $10 or $12
Yeah.
on soup,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, I do really like the free aspect of it, because people who had the money ended up just giving it to us through the auction.
Right.
And that clam chowder did not last.
No, that was good.
And it was so funny because I thought it's such a specific taste. I thought, oh, the chili will get knocked off in no time.
Mhm.
The clam chowder went zoom.
Yeah,
So,
it was gone, and then the chili was next, and then the turkey soup was the last bit. But I
It was all
mean, he had 3 crock pots out, and we had backups. The clam chowder was all we had that was in the crock pot, and we had 3 backups of the turkey soup and 2 backups of the chili, and it was defeated. I mean, just
It was
completely
all gone. By the time the parade started at 5, and
Yep.
by about 4:30, we ran out. So,
Wow.
yeah. So lots of hot cocoa and lots of cookies.
Yes.
So yeah, great job.
Thank you. It was pretty low maintenance to organize. That was outside of the soup and handing out. the
Good say, I
soup.
don't think Paul would say that, but okay.
Yeah, he was definitely, I think I officially
Tired man
broke
at
the
the end
cook
of it.
of cooking for that weekend. He was like, don't ask me to cook anything for about a week. It's like, all right, fair enough.
All right,
So,
thank you.
I think I'm
Alexis.
done. Yeah.
Okay. Jean, how about our friends?
Our friends. So we just renewed the Fire Museum Pass. And we have the mini book sale in the library, which is still ongoing, and we've made some money.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I noticed it would pump
I
it up.
haven't counted it. I've kept all the money, the change. And the bills in the back room, so in case they need to make change or
Okay.
anything. But I did take a check for $18 if someone bought $18 worth of books, and
Yeah. Christmas wrapped up like that.
I deposited it. So yeah, so it was, good.
Good.
Still on. That's it. That's
Okay,
it for
all right. Sounds good.
That's it for me.
Okay, how are we doing on time? So it's almost 8.
So we are
Oh,
having
great.
our nominations of officers at our next meeting. We're gonna be missing a few,
Mm,
but some people switch jobs, so we have we have, it'll be okay, I think, to start. Yeah,
You know, new members.
well, no, they came, that one woman came the first meeting, but she said she's not a permanent resident here yet,
Mm,
so she did not come to the last meeting.
mm,
And, you know, Betty Abrams, we reached out to, but she didn't make the meeting. I don't know. I don't know why, but
mm,
maybe she will.
yeah,
in the future.
busy time of year too.
Mm.
So a lot of family stuff going on. A lot of people are sick. So, okay. That it?
Mhm.
All right, great. Thank you for contributions this month. All right, so do we want to talk about open business or do we want to just talk about the, I think we should mention the New York trustee education policy since everybody's going to be held accountable to that one, which you saw the copy of it, right?
I do, can I mention one thing on open business?
Yes.
We're done with the Learn, Play, Create grant. Done. And I submitted my last 3 pieces of paperwork to the lovely county who gave us this great grant. And, but we're done. The TV's up in the kids space. That was the last bit. Now that it's finally finished and Beth helped me get the basement cleaned out, we're gonna start moving all of our organization efforts that we were utilizing the upstairs space for during the construction back down where it's supposed to be. And yeah, so it doesn't need to be on the agenda anymore.
It's on. I have a question. So do we no longer have access to the rooms upstairs? Is that?
I was
Over.
given a key on Thursday because I needed to get in there because our carts are up there. And I was told, I was hoping Sarah would be here tonight so I could get clarification on that. And I was told at the time to just bring the key back when we're done. So I'm assuming that
We
means,
won't be done for a long time.
yeah, well, I told
Sometime in
them,
March.
I got people, I have, people out of town and it's gonna be at least a couple weeks for us to shift everything back, but at least, but that, as far as I know, I have to return the key when we're done with that space. So, and that means that we can't access the meeting room either, but I do want to talk to town hall about it because there's no private meeting areas in this library. So we coordinate with Northeast Community Center, who covers Pine Plains for social services projects. So I do have people who come in to apply for SNAP applications and social security assistance. And I don't feel like that's something that you should be doing out in the open public. He does coordinate one-on-ones and I've utilized that room before when it's available for that purpose. So I do want to talk to town hall about.
And they might be more receptive now that we did have a meeting that sort of cleared up some of what they thought was going on that wasn't really us.
Yeah.
So, so it might be something that we can take up again. So,
Yeah, so in terms, I'm not sure. I have access to it right now to get to our stuff, which is great. And I'm hoping to get further clarification on what it is and hopefully just at least come to an agreement on what they expect from us from that space if they're worried about us overusing it so that we can maintain access to the meeting room at least.
And we'll still be able to keep some of the storage downstairs.
Yeah, our ability to store things in the basement is protected by our lease.
Okay.
So.
And then I was just wondering if you have the is it the ALA grant that you're going after, but have you identified any other grants that you're gonna be looking at for the next year?
I was looking to see when Berkshire Taconic opens up more of their grants. It looks like a few of them that I've been seeing the last few years, they're no longer offering. So I'm not really sure what they're coming out with yet. They have one operating budget or operating support grant that it's really highly competitive. I think we've applied almost every year and we haven't gotten it yet. Because I can see the past times that we applied for it, but I didn't see the application information for that, so I'm not sure if they're offering it again this year. I still want to pursue the Stewart's grant. I'm just trying to figure out the best case for us to apply for it, and I wanted it to be on the next fiscal year, so I was waiting. But I was playing around with using it to improve digital collections for about $2,000, or to supply us with the, or just to cover the movie license again, which is what they did for us last year. So, I was trying to figure out how best to utilize that grant. We haven't ever asked them for a lot of money. You can ask them for up to $5,000. And we've always asked them for like less than $1,000. So I kind of wanted to see how they would respond to a bigger request, but that means that if they say no, we lose out on something smaller. But you don't actually have, we could always apply and then go back 6 months later. They don't have a time frame. That's just an open grant that you can kind of submit requests for as needed. But
And then are there any county or state grants as well?
I haven't found anything through the county at the moment. I think because they're dealing with transitions,
Right.
and also the Learn, Play, Create grant, the second round is still occupying a lot of their time. There's some whispers that there might be a third round of the Learn, Play, Create grant again. I don't know what we would use it for at this point, but
Come on.
yeah, I know, like maybe we redo the tech department or something. I don't know. Yeah, get rid of the cursed half walls.
Or build the conference room.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
so we could explore, but I haven't seen anything come out about that yet. The ALA grant was for accessibility. I was looking into a few others, but
And actually the build out of the conference room would be easier now because the new wrestling coach has cleared out a ton
yes,
of gym equipment. But I did notice that like there's 2 pieces on the side of the yard.
all of the equipment got shoved out the door out there,
Yeah.
and they were supposed to come load them up, but it hasn't happened, so I don't know.
Well, it was only like 2 pieces. I think
Okay.
they took some of it.
Yeah,
It
they
was
must have took
definitely
some of
a
it,
lot
yeah.
less than what used to be in the basement. So
Right.
there's a whole lot more space down there. It's a lot cleaner looking.
It
It's-
looks great though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the guys that took over the wrestling have done a great job. So
Yeah,
happy.
and they're working with me really well. Like I just send one of them a text and they relay the message, and they're like, whatever you need to do, just move it. It's fine. No big deal. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah.
So they're working with us as much as they can. So that's great.
Okay, so I'm friends with our new state senator, so maybe after she gets settled in, we can have a call with her and figure out if there's anything that we might be able to get.
Yeah.
From that side. I mean, like she obviously she works with Dee Dee, but.
Yes.
something
Yeah.
like that.
I was actually about to say that we need to hit up Dee Dee and see if she's going to do anything this year. That $5,000 grant she did last year though was pretty hefty
Yeah.
for her. So I don't know if they have any plans, but I have her secretary on speed dial, so I might give him a call.
Well,
and
Michelle,
see.
this is her first time being on this side of the river, obviously,
Yeah.
so I think she'd be interested. I mean, I can't speak for her, but I think she'd be interested in,
Yeah.
making some.
Feel free to reach
making
out.
some good noise.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
good.
Go ahead and reach out
I
on.
met her at Julie on the Hudson.
She's really nice.
She is. Okay, anything else that people want to touch on? I don't want to keep people here all night. We can always pick up some of the stuff in January, or you can. Just saying.
Way to push.
I'm happy to help with stuff if you guys want my help with anything. I just, can't call
Yes.
meetings, can't vote, all that stuff. If you want to invite me to things, that's fine. I will be glad to volunteer.
Is there any update on the sign? Because we were walking
No,
from,
I know, it's my New Year's resolution.
have you priced out
Yeah, I
of, okay.
It's too expensive. I need to get a different, I was gonna do a sign like they have at PEX. I wanted to do a sign like they have in the funeral home.
Yeah,
So it's like a card sign, it would be consistent with what's already in town, but it's over $6,000. So I think that's too much for a sign. So I need to go back and have them price out a painted sign as opposed to a carved sign.
a vinyl wrap.
Well, the whole thing needs to come down. It's all rotted.
Also, Brian mentioned, and he cracked me up, but he's like, oh yeah, I need to put 2 big rocks out in front of the library. And I just looked at him and I said, are they pretty rocks? He says, well, I have to protect the new ugly septic or propane tank.
Propane, yeah.
So no one,
So now there might be some other obstacles out there.
okay,
So we'll definitely need to work with the town on where we can put it, how big it can be.
yeah.
And we definitely, want to get their approval on the design and the
Yeah.
phrasing and all that. So,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's gonna be two big rocks so that no one can jump the curb and take out the propane tanks. So
Really?
he just looked at me, he's just like, yeah, I need to put like some big rocks out. I'm like.
I mean, his-
"Man."
You can understand why. 'Cause
Yeah.
He
He
made the
doesn't have a
comment.
lot of room though.
Yeah, he made the comment. He's like, every time I drive by there, I could just imagine somebody veering off and then, it's one of
Yep.
those things. So I get it, but it's just the kind of the unfortunate placing of where the propane tanks are.
Yeah, and
built for this
maybe
building.
we move the sign altogether. Maybe it goes the other side of the driveway. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it definitely needs to be moved. I mean, as I mentioned, I think it needs to be multi-part so that you can see through it. It's too big and
yeah,
it needs to be closer to the actually to the
Yeah, I think
driveway.
it
So
needs to be
either,
very clear.
either on this side or on that side, it needs to be
Yeah.
closer to the driveway.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, we need to get Drew involved and then we need to figure out with
Yeah.
Brian where the logistics of the rocks are going. So yeah, so we can work with the town on that.
I mentioned the vinyl wrap in passing because all of our ambulances have been getting done and I saw that they were doing a sign for a company down in LaGrange. And it was really nice. I would never have considered that as an option.
yeah, I will take your word for it.
So, yeah, I certainly like the wood, but it's 20% of the cost,
Yeah,
probably less.
Mm.
And you can wrap them on wood, so it looks a
Right,
little bit better.
right.
So your posts are,
But we could even do like trucks or something like that wouldn't rot out underneath of a vinyl wrap,
that's
know.
true.
I
Yeah,
mean,
vinyl post would be smarter
yeah,
than the wood.
yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. And most of the sign companies that I had spoken with before you took over were doing
Yeah.
definitely vinyl posts.
Hmm.
Okay,
I know. It'd be great to have everything be solid wood, but cost effective.
yeah, but maintenance.
Yep.
So. Okay, so we need to nominate and get officers into place. So I'll start with the easy one. So Ted has agreed to step up and serve. And so I would like to nominate Ted as the financial officer for 2023.
Second.
And second it, and all in favor of nominating Ted?
Aye.
I,
Ted, you are our official financial officer for 2023.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
We appreciate you sticking around, so that's great. Okay, we need a nomination for president. And I know what I would say. Because it can't be me.
Nomination to change the bylaws and Beth for another year.
I'll be honest, I'm nervous to do it. Because of some of my time commitments that I have elsewhere and my short period of time being a true resident of the town. And that's why I backpedal on it. But as long as everybody's, I mean, the work, the 414 work is gonna be a big lift. And I just can't do it myself. So I'm just,
And you can engage members of the community to help you with those. things.
absolutely.
Including past or outgoing president.
Yes.
Yeah. Like subcommittees are made up of groups that are board
Mhm.
members and volunteers and Beth.
Right, right, and then,
And there are
So-
previous board members that might want to help out with certain projects, but
That's
not
right.
necessarily be on the board all the time. So I think
Right.
there are ways to tap into resources.
Right. I guess that my worry is that if I have to find those to tap into, that I won't find them, and then
Well,
I will
that
fail.
I would
Yeah.
help. I would run the
Yeah,
414.
okay.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
I mean, as best as I can,
Yeah.
so.
So do we have president and vice president nominations?
Yes, I'll nominate Claire to be president and Kira to be vice president.
I would second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Like to back out now, sorry, you've been elected.
Remember, and just remember, if you're like,
My husband's gonna kill me.
if it gets complicated.
Oh, but we're on YouTube.
Yeah, this is official, guys,
Yeah.
sorry.
So also, you agree to serve a one-year term, but if there's anything that gets in the way, there are times that people have to, move
Right.
aside or whatever, and there might be some other people that come into play.
Yep.
So if you find that you're struggling, then just come forward and say it, and then we'll figure out, or they will figure out how to,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
The
Okay,
We
great
have one
part
more we
is-
need to do, right?
we do, we need a secretary.
I would like to nominate Carrie to continue as secretary.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carrie, now you get 2 jobs. Sorry, Amanda.
Can do it. All right,
Second.
okay, all right.
Good part
All
is
in
if you
Hey,
see
what do you
me-
want?
If you have that concerns, you can just be like, oh my God.
All right, all in favor of Kenda taking the secretaries? for
Aye.
2023? Aye, okay. Patrick and Patty, all good?
Yes.
All right, I see those hands waving. Thank you. Okay, so we now have our official restructuring for 2023. And I thank you all for stepping up.
I just want to say as somebody, as a new director, granted, I've already been here over 2 years, which is very hard to believe, but as somebody who's been going around and talking to a lot of libraries and a lot of library directors trying to, look at ways that we can improve our organization, I have to say, I think we have, and I'm saying this fairly confidently, one of, if not the best board right now in Dutchess County, if not the Mid-Hudson Library System. The horror stories that I hear, it just makes me feel really grateful to all of you for making my job so much easier, because y'all really could make it a lot more difficult if you wanted it to. So
Yeah.
all of you are really great, and I think also in the process of reading all of our past minutes and looking at previous administrations just for this library, this is hands down the best library board that we've had, in my opinion. So,
here.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Been very, very fun. So I have enjoyed working.
Except for that board president back in, what was it, 1985? What was that?
Oh,
1996?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the wonderful board president, a very special Ospowski, who helped us get our first computer for the library back then.
Wow.
Yes.
Alexis found this write-up from the paper, and it's so funny. We got our first computer, and the librarian was gonna use it. They were gonna contemplate maybe having the patrons. I mean, it's really a great article.
I
Yeah.
imagine.
I'm gonna read it at Christmas time with my family.
And Jean was our board president
Oh,
at that time. And that was before Marguerite was even a librarian. She was a volunteer for the library.
Wow, history.
Yeah, it was Mary Lou was, and she was.
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Yes, we have.
leaving because technology was coming in, it's scary when you.
When I was in
Yeah.
library school in 92 to 94, and we had classes where we had to take apart all the pieces of the computer and put them back together again. So the computer, so we have to take all the peripherals off and, like open up the back and pull out the boards and stuff like that, because they just wanted everybody to have done it once before they landed a professional job as a librarian. And it's like, it's crazy that we had to do that,
Yeah.
but
All right, well,
how much time is
I want everybody to be able to get off and enjoy your holidays.
Yeah.
So,
The policies, the two policies. that I have on.
Oh, the two
oh, do you need
policies,
them passed tonight?
do we have
I mean,
to
I-
pass them?
Guess they can. Yeah, I guess they can.
Okay.
Did it, I mean,
Just do it.
I'm okay with both of them.
Was
Yeah,
there-
absolutely.
Yeah, I read
was-
them and I thought they were good.
Yeah. I hope they're
There
great.
was the couple of typos that I
That one
mentioned to
time, yeah.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think,
No, look good.
Yeah.
Key policy, right?
yep, and then
Don't
the
we
trustee
have that?
education policy, I can't take credit for, that was Mid-Hudson Library. I literally copied and pasted it
Yeah,
from
that's fine.
what Mid-Hudson said to do.
No, they both look good.
Oh, that was, the policy looks fine. Is there, you keep track of our hours, right? It's 2 hours of continuing education every year?
Yes,
Yes,
well,
next year, yeah.
We actually have to send it over to the clerk. right?
Yeah,
Jennifer?
well,
this
technically
for
this is for the state, so actually the clerk
Oh.
doesn't have anything to do with this. This is
Okay.
outside of the municipality.
So it's just,
Technically, the board president will keep track of it,
you
but I'm the one who does the report for the state.
Mhm.
Well, I don't really understand why they put the board president, because the board president doesn't do the report for the state, the director does.
Mhm.
So it just makes sense if you send them to me. And then I guess because the board president can harass whoever's not staying on top of
Mhm.
it.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna
Yep.
Yeah.
say, to keep track, and then I'm happy. to
Well,
keep
2
track.
hours is really
It's
not
not
a,
a lot.
it's not a
I mean,
high
that-
bar to get.
No,
it.
in fact, we have to do sexual harassment training. How many hours is that?
that's
Is that,
That was it, that was about.
that's an hour, so you got one more hour to pick up.
Yeah,
it's
so,
And-
and then on top of that, Mid Hudson has now started, I don't know if any of you got the emails. I added you all to the emails, but the trustee training and demand is now available through Mid Hudson.
Oh,
And you can do them on demand. They're at your own pace. And you get a certificate when you're done, you
That's
send it to
great.
me, and then I can report that back to the state every year and.
the
bada bing,
classes
bada
are good, you know,
Yeah.
they're not full of, just junk. It's like, to get the data out there and then they're done. So it's, actually, I found the classes not to be.
And the book club, the trustee handbook.
Book.
Mhm.
Book club.
I
Yeah.
hope your book,
oh,
your
Yeah.
trustee book came in.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we approve the New York State Libraries trustee education policy and the building access and key policy.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
hey,
All right. You go, Alexis.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Now they'll go up on the website.
All right.
A
So
question,
it is,
What are you getting for Christmas?
oh,
Question.
question.
Ted?
you will have to submit to me the hours that you spent, average it out per week as a trustee. I need it for the 990. Okay,
Okay,
number of hours you put in as a trustee per week, per day. No, per week.
per week.
It's at least 4 hours a day, put in for overtime.
Okay,
Do
so
like an
we need to
hour.
get that to Ted by the first
per
of the year,
week?
right, Ted?
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering what the number is, like what it.
Oh, wait, doesn't that include the meeting?
Oh, yeah, anytime you
Yeah.
spent on our
Mhm.
business.
That's
any-
2 hours right there.
Mhm,
And then we have subcommittees,
Mhm. mhm,
we have events,
Yeah.
so
okay.
cemetery tour.
Mm,
Yeah, so anytime you're working on behalf of the board,
Mhm.
that's what your time is.
No, I didn't want to like be like 18 a week and then like totally like make everybody look bad or I'm not spending 18 hours.
Yeah, not yet. That's right.
Madam President, not yet.
I do not spend 18 hours a week. Okay, so Ted, you need this by when?
Well, by January 15th.
Okay,
Okay, let's just make it everybody's New Year resolution.
Just
New Year's-
average it out over a week, over the whole year.
okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
Okay.
all right, so on that note, I will officially adjourn the meeting at 8:20. All in favor?
Bye.
All right, thank you for your time, Patrick, Patty. Have fun in
Thank
Florida,
you.
Patty.
Yep.
Thank
Good night, everybody.
you.
Merry Christmas.
Good luck.
Merry Christmas.
Very good.